Big Bad Toy Store has all of the latest and greatest kaiju collectibles, so evolve your collection and head on over to the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen today. Tripod Ghidorah is effective for absolutely nothing, but you gotta admit it's pretty cool.
Horror, kaiju, Dragon Ball, and more. Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hello there, collectors. This is going to be Steven here, and welcome to another Hiya Toys Kaiju review, where today we're going to be taking a look at the Exquisite Basic King Ghidorah, 1991. King Ghidorah here. I needed to have something to fill into the intro because this figure is really great with realistically only 2 flaws, and I am recording this section last of the review. I already recorded the articulation section prior to recording this audio. So let's take a look to see whether or not King Ghidorah is going to be worth adding into your collection. And by golly, this figure looks fantastic at a quick glance. Definitely the silhouette of King Ghidorah is present. Folks are already oohing and awing over how amazing this figure looks. Fantastic shelf presence, but when we get up close and personal, it basically just keeps getting better. King Ghidorah is naturally going to be very gold, very nice black wash for the heads and the necks and the scales. Oh my, fantastic. The eyes are very good. They look beady. We have amazing paint applications or decals, whatever that's going to be there. I will say that I'm not quite sure how accurate that is to the source material, but nevertheless, they do look good. I think the teeth paint may be a little bit off once again compared to the source material, but at the end of the day, guess what? It still looks fine. When it comes to the proportions of King Ghidorah, I am in the camp, there seems to be 2 here, that he's just a little bit too thick, almost like he's a little swollen or has an allergic reaction for something, but some folks say that he looks just fine. But here's the best part. You can have inaccurate figures that still look amazing, and that is what this King Ghidorah is able to nail down. The finer sculpted details on the faces, on the necks, all of the scales, all of the wing patterns, everything on this figure looks amazing, and the gold is really complemented by that black wash that's pretty much found entirely throughout the figure. Now, I am singing its praises, but there are 2 things to really keep in mind here. First and foremost, when we take a look at the wings, they're going to be very noticeable. There are going to be these splotches on them. Some seem to think that they're fingerprints, but I have large hands. My fingers are big. They don't even get close to the size of my fingers. They're not fingerprints. You also don't get to see prints on those splotches. So I don't know what these reasonably could be. Perhaps maybe there's something with the oils in the paints or something that didn't cure right in the factory when they shipped these out. And it's not just my unit. There are a lot of others who have reported this when they got their figures in hand. The other thing to take note of, this is not exclusive to just this figure. This is also true for some of the Monster Arts King Ghidorahs, including the Mecha, including the Monsterverse Special Color Version 1. Sometimes with gold figures, they may not be dyed or injected, molded correctly with the correct colors and all that fun stuff, or even the paint may not be a perfect 1-to-1 mix for each part of the figure. Over time, the individual pieces of the toy may start to fade and change a different shade of gold. I am slightly beginning to see that on this figure. I believe in 5-10 years out, we're going to see Hiya Ghidorahs that just look a little bit different and mismatched, like they're made of pieces parts. But at least he looks good now. Yeah, he is nice and sharp and spiky, so that's a double plus. Overall, King Ghidorah looks great. With a couple things, who knows how they'll turn out. Articulation. As I knock all of my accessories over. Fine. I think King Ghidorah works rather well in this format. So, for those of you who are unaware, the SH Monster Arts, the original release at minimum, King Ghidorah had some issues with the hinges at the wings. Combination of material and design flaw, very easy to shatter and crack and break. Here, not really an issue or something I would be worried about whatsoever. But we do have to have a conversation about, the rest of the articulation. So what do we got here, folks? Well, obviously, King Ghidorah is going to have 3 heads, and all of the necks and so forth, they're going to basically be the same. So as you can see here, we got the tongue. It's on a hinge. It moves up and down. And we have the jaw up and down. Yahoo. You saw in the intro, ball jointed necks, very good range of movement. You can twist them and you can turn them and you can do everything that you would like. Basically, these are like tails. They're very short tails. You can move them around as you would like. Here's kind of where we get a bit complicated with the body, and this is where some folks I've already seen have gotten a little bit stumped, but I can sort of help you out. So let's go down here a little bit and help you visualize, okay? So with King Ghidorah here, a lot of folks are going to be inclined to have him sort of be slumped over like this. You have to do a bit of a combination here, okay? King Ghidorah's main body joint, his ab crunch, is on a ball joint. So we can twist and turn it, and I'm forcing it. You can hear it. So this is as safely as about his range of movement, okay? You don't want to try forcing it and cranking it more than that. You're good to go. That's what your extent to the range of movement is. Now, if you just have King Ghidorah standing up, you're probably going to be like, well, he's not really standing up too straight. Like, how can I get him to stand up straight? That is where you have to play with things. The Monster Arts Ghidorahs, they have another joint here, so this way it can stand up a bit more straight. Unfortunately, for the tails here, they don't really help to accommodate that. But what you need to do here is you need to fiddle with the legs to sort of prop him up a bit and angle them out. So once you do get that angle, then Ghidorah stands a bit more straight up and up like he should. There you go. So now that we kind of got that idea out of the way, we have ball jointed hips, which are real tight, which is a good thing here because there's a lot of beef for him to hold up. So don't be mistaken that to be a bad thing. So that's how the cut is for how we're going to be moving him. So he can kick his legs out to the side about that far and the like. So just keep that in mind. We do have ball jointed knees, so we can kind of twist and turn them at places. So it's very good. At least they seem to be ball joints, but keep in mind that they can be seated up higher, so you're not really going to get the full extent of the ball joint. We do have a nice range of hinge movement forward and back, though. We do have cuts here at the middle position of the lower leg for a ball joint for the ankle rocker movement, which the ankles do have. So I don't know how helpful those are going to be. Once again, they are tighter. They don't feel like they're going to break, just difficult to move. But again, keep in mind, there's a lot of beef here for it to hold up. So it is going to need to be able to support all of that. The tails. From here, this section is one piece of sculpt, which again, the Monster Arts, it is a bit more accommodating when it comes to the articulation, and you can move that a bit more with range of movement. But after that, we do have the tails that split off, and they are very, very easy to move. They have great range, no problem there. They twist, and they turn, and they speed, no problems. Tails are good. The wings. Here's where we do have an issue. Sort of, depending. Okay, so they plug in on a little swivel. That's kind of where the battle damage is going to take place for the battle damage version of Ghidorah, right? That's how you're going to pull them out. So you get a little bit of swivel movement. It's minor. It doesn't really matter. We have a single hinge here at the base. So they go down that far. Then they go up. There's another hinge here. Right here. That moves independently. It's kind of hard to get it to move. But you absolutely can get it to move. It's hard to do. Kind of pointless, to be honest with you. Kind of pointless, but it is there. You can see it much better over here, and you can actually see the hinge there. Okay? All right. Here's the big thing that's a bit of a worry, and it's gonna be the bendy wire found in the wings. Okay? Now, I'm obviously pushing this real hard because that's what I'm supposed to do. My job as a reviewer is to test these things out to give you some guidance as to like what the motion limit is and like what we're looking at here. So obviously right now we're kind of good. There's like 3 bendy wires in here in total, I believe it is. So right now everything's fine. But the minute that we have a tear, oh buddy, that's going to be pretty bad. So just please keep that in mind and handle the wings with kid gloves. Don't go all ham hands, big gorilla like I'm doing here, okay? Don't do it. You won't have good results. You can get some pretty crazy bends with it, right? But treat it nicely, and it will be nice to you. And as a matter of fact, it is a moot thing, but that is a hole right there that just popped. But that is at one of the sections that they use to sort of have like a ventilation to prevent rust and damage. So you saw what effort it took to pop one of the parts to Ghidorah's wings. So that is something to keep in mind. That's what we're looking at here in order to cause damage. Now note that I'm not complaining about it. Better me than you. Now, accessories, none. For comparison, the SH Monster Arts that came out more than a decade ago came with some support stands for the beams. Okay. This was solicited in English to come with support stands. Okay. That kind of stinks. Doesn't actually come with a support stand. Some folks are upset that there's going to be a whole separate battle damage version of Ghidorah where he's going to have a broken wing set and the head and all that fun stuff, and they believe that it should have come with this. Well, if you think that, that's totally fine. I think that that's a little bit too much. That would have driven the cost way up beyond the 120, 140, however much this is supposed to be. We definitely would have had to have gotten a separate release. I think they should have included beams. I definitely think they should have. And that's not just because, this was about as much as the Monster Arts was from back in the day. I just think that the beams would have been good considering they already had the repaint locked, loaded, and ready to go with more stuff. But c'est la vie. They should have included something here just to sweeten the deal. But what do I know? Here's going to be Hiya's whole casting crew of the 1991 movie Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah right here for a size comparison. So if you are interested in picking one, both, or whatever combination up, here you go. Pretty straightforward, and I think pretty good size considering what Hiya is trying to do. So, buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. King Ghidorah looks very imposing, though your opinion on accuracy may be plus or minus in its favor. The articulation is phenomenal, and doing a stress test live, you actually saw what it took to just find a weak point in the wing structure and get a little bit of a tear, which, once again, I basically didn't react to. And when it comes to the accessories, nothing is found here in the release, but unfortunately, I think we should have gotten something. The biggest gripe with this is going to be, first, which is found on several units, the splotches on the wings, which, quite frankly, they're not fingerprints, don't even know what those could be. So, Hiya, what's going on there, and how can we fix that for folks who are affected, which seems to be the majority of people? And then the other thing, which appears to be the case, and it's only going to get worse with time, different pieces of the figure having slightly different colors of gold, and that getting worse over time. It's already happened to a good amount of the SH Monster Arts figures and some other gold figures not Godzilla related, so I'm worried. Overall, if you're looking to get a King Ghidorah figure, a Heisei King Ghidorah figure, aside from the Ichiban show, Ichiban Kuji, whatever, slated to come out later in 2025, this is going to be a #1 contender for that slot. This is an awesome toy.